Okay, you guys, so big news. Little People, Big World is officially done after nearly 2 decades on air. Honestly, though, it feels like this ending was very overdue. The Roloff family saga has been running since 2006, and if you've been tuning in from the beginning, you know it's been quite the evolution. It started out giving us a glimpse into their lives, showing us the unique challenges that they faced as little people in an average sized world. It was all about education, that type of thing. But as the years rolled on, things got less about the day-to-day struggles and way more about the family drama and relationships. If you've been watching for a while, you've probably noticed how the family dynamic has changed, and not always in a good way. So let's break down where everyone is now that the cameras have finally stopped rolling. Starting with Matt and Amy. Despite all their tension, the messy divorce, those rumors that Matt might have cheated with Karen, these two actually seem to be on pretty good terms right now. Wild, right? It's probably a mix of keeping up with appearances and making sure that the Roloff farm stays in business, but they genuinely do seem to get along better now that they aren't married than whenever they were married. Amy still heads to the farm for events, even though she's now married to Chris, who most people I think seem to like quite a bit. And let's be real, if Amy really hated Matt, I doubt that she'd be going back to the farm as much as she does. Yeah, I know she makes money from it, but it probably wouldn't be worth the hassle if things were still too tense. Then there's the big recent fallout with Zach and Tori versus Matt and Karen. Apparently, well, it's not apparently, they have said that this has happened, that there was a meeting that went down between the four of them that really soured things. And while we don't know the full story, we do know it has something to do with the farm. Some kind of farm deal. Zach and Tori wanted the farm. Matt wasn't for them having the farm, I guess. I don't know. Zach and Tori had definitely voiced their opinions about wanting to take it over, but in that meeting, something was said that really created a divide. In particular, it was something that Karen said. They have alluded to that. Whatever she said, though, has led to a very big rift. So much so that they still don't speak to Karen. And it's crazy because Tori was the one who was super close with her. Her kids even called Karen Cha Cha, and Matt and Karen used to babysit them all the time. But now they didn't even visit the farm for pumpkin season this year. Can you blame them though? Matt dangled that farm like a carrot for years with all of his kids, I feel like, only to never pass it down, and he eventually put it up for sale. It never sold, but now it's just a short term rental, which is honestly kind of sad given how big of a role that the farm played on the show. Then there's the other big family mystery, whatever happened between Zach and Jeremy. Those two were inseparable growing up and even got along well whenever they got married. Their wives seemed to get along pretty well, but rumors of a fight started swirling years ago, with some speculating it was over the farm, since Jeremy and Audrey also had interests in it. So where do things stand with them now? Well, Zach and Tori have said that there's no drama between them. They get along well, but a lot of people think that there is issues, and they're always like, why are Zach and Tori not at your pictures? Why are Jeremy and Audrey not at your parties? But just because they don't post together on social media, it doesn't mean that they're at odds or not hanging out. Now, Molly was the first Roloff kid to leave the show and has since disappeared from the spotlight, living a quiet life with her husband. The youngest, Jacob, on the other hand, had a very public exit after what came out with what happened to him whenever he was on the show. So he had kept his distance after that, and I feel like the show should have ended at that point once his parents found out. Interestingly enough, though, he's the most involved with the farm now. He lives on the property there with his wife, he helps out year round, and him and his wife play a pretty big role in pumpkin season. Out of everybody, he actually seems to have the best relationship with the whole family, especially Matt. So now, of course, the question is what's next for everyone now that the show's over? Zach and Tori haven't been on the show in quite a while. They have a podcast, which brings in revenue along with all those lucrative brand deals that Tori does. Zach's definitely talked about wanting to get a quote regular job someday to feel like he's contributing to society. Jeremy and Audrey have been making the most of their social media influence too, with book deals, brand partnerships, podcasts, that sort of thing. Amy just put out her second cookbook, and her husband Chris works as a realtor. So I feel like she should be in a pretty good spot, especially with whatever savings she has left over from the show. Honestly, though, couldn't you see Chris, Matt, and Karen doing a podcast together or something, like kind of capitalizing on the show being over? I feel like everybody does a podcast nowadays, so I could totally see them doing that. But as for Matt, well, he seemed to be the only one who really wanted to keep the show going, so hopefully he has some savings and can keep making money from the farm somehow. I read that Karen was actually the one who was saying no, she didn't want to do the show anymore. She was ready for things to end. But there is some rumors that they will film a special for their wedding, so who knows? Maybe we'll see them again on TV. Looking at it all though, as a viewer from all these years, It feels like Matt made some choices that really affected the family. There's the whole alleged cheating thing, not stopping the show when the situation with Jacob came out, and of course, the big letdown with the farm. It's kind of just a classic case of how reality TV can tear a family apart, especially when it stops being about education and starts being more about the drama. But what do you guys think? Are you glad the show's over? And who from the family do you still keep up with? Recently, I've actually been enjoying Zach and Tori's podcast. It feels a lot more relaxed and real compared to their time on the show.